Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we are diving deep into the world of businesses that are subscription-based.
Ooh. I would-
Like software, services, even car features you can sign up for these days.
Yikes, right.
And we've got this Oracle document. It's basically their playbook for setting this whole system up.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting a peek behind the curtain of all those subscribe now buttons we see everywhere online.
Exactly. We're going to unpack how companies use some serious tech, especially Oracle systems, to make these subscriptions work, seamlessly.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we interact with these subscriptions and we don't even realize how complex they actually are behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
So this will be kind of cool to see how it all works.
Okay, so the document, it jumps right into this thing called a BOM bill of
Uh-huh.
materials. Yeah, usually you hear boom and you think physical products.
Right.
Like all the parts in your car.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But here, it's all digital.
Yeah. So in this case, imagine you're subscribing to a software suite.
Okay.
The BOM would basically list out every single app that you get as part of that subscription, all the extra services included, even things like usage limits.
So like if your plan has, say, a certain amount of cloud storage, that's part of the BOM.
Exactly.
That's really important. So you know exactly what you're getting.
Transparency.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the company knows how to manage it on their end.
Exactly. And speaking of transparency, this guide also goes into all the different ways companies can actually price these subscriptions.
Okay.
So you've got your one-time fees, your recurring charges. Those are pretty standard.
Yeah.
But then they get into this thing called usage-based pricing.
Usage-based. Now that has my attention. Tell me more.
Think of it like your electricity bill.
Oh.
The software can actually keep track of how much you're using a specific feature,
Wow.
and that gets factored into your final bill.
That's next level. I mean, it makes sense. Pay for what you use, but still.
It's a growing trend for
Yeah.
sure, especially with these cloud-based services. And this document, it really breaks down the specifics.
Okay.
It talks about how you amend a subscription, how you renew it, how you terminate it. They have workflows for everything.
Workflows. What's the big deal about a workflow?
Well, think about it this way. When you make a change to your subscription, let's say you upgrade to a higher tier, or you switch from monthly billing to annual billing.
Like-
You don't want to be stuck with a brand new subscription when all you were trying to do is just tweak your old one.
I've totally been there. Accidental new subscription. Not fun.
The worst. So these workflows basically ensure that when you make a change, the company system, it handles it correctly.
Okay, so how do they prevent that? The accidental double subscription.
Well, they use something, it's a tiny detail, but it has a huge impact. It's called an update old subscription flag.
Update old subscription flag.
Yes, it's a mouthful, but basically it tells the system whether to create a fresh brand new subscription or just modify your existing one based on the changes you're making.
That's a pretty important flag.
Huge.
Okay, what else? What else is in this document?
Well, they also talk about Oracle's subscription workbench. It's essentially a central hub where you as the subscriber can manage everything all in one place.
Okay.
It's a newer feature. It started in their version 19B, I believe.
So no more clicking through like a million menus just to update your credit card info or something.
Exactly. It's all about streamlining, making it easier for both sides.
That's a win in my book.
And this document highlights how they're doing it. They've got these pre-built attributes, automated actions, even email notifications, all designed to make this process smoother.
Like those reminder emails when your subscription's about to renew.
Yes, exactly. Way better than a surprise charge on your credit card, right?
Definitely. So much better.
And that's just one example. Another critical piece of this puzzle is the integration element. And that's where Oracle Integration Cloud comes in, or OIC for short.
Okay, integration. What does that even mean in this context?
Think of OIC as the connective tissue.
Okay.
It links all the different systems that actually touch your subscription. So your billing platform, the system that lets you actually access the service, all of that, they have to be in sync.
So like when I update my payment info, OIC makes sure that change goes through to all the right places.
Exactly. OIC is working behind the scenes, so you don't even have to think about it.
Nice. I like that.
Now, the document, they use a really interesting example to kind of bring all of this to life, and they talk about a subscription service for a Vision Vehicles SUV.
Wait, are we talking subscription-based cars now? Because that's a
Yeah.
whole other...
I know, right?
That's a whole other deep dive.
It might be sooner than we think, but for now, let's just focus on how this example explains the technology.
Yeah.
So they break down how you could subscribe to various car features.
Okay.
Advanced driver assistance, a premium sound system, all those extra bells and whistles.
Instead of buying those features outright.
Exactly. You can pick and choose. kind of like we do with streaming services now.
So you only pay for what you actually want, and you can adjust it as you need to.
Exactly. And this whole thing is managed through, you guessed it, a subscription model.
So instead of having a car with like every single feature, some of which you never even use,
Right.
you could just pick and choose exactly what you want, just like we do with our streaming services these days.
Precisely. And it shows how versatile this technology really is. From software to SUVs, the possibilities are kind of limitless.
Yeah, this really makes you think about like what other everyday products might become subscription-based in the future, you know?
It's an interesting thought.
It's kind of scary, but also interesting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But okay, let's not spiral into a future run by subscription boxes quite yet.
Not yet.
Let's bring it back to this Oracle guide.
Okay.
We covered a lot of ground already. What are the key takeaways that our listeners should really remember about what we just talked about?
Okay, good point. Let's pause and distill some of this information. So first off, Oracle is clearly positioning themselves as like the go-to source for businesses that want to set up these subscription services.
Yeah, which makes sense given how deep they're going into all these details.
Exactly. This is comprehensive stuff.
Yep.
And the second major takeaway, I would say, is how crucial this digital bomb is.
Right.
It defines exactly what you, the subscriber, are getting in the digital world. So it's not just about physical parts anymore. It's about software features, usage limits, all of that.
So pay attention to those bomb details, everybody.
Yes. Don't just skim over the fine print.
Exactly.
And then finally, we can't forget about the power of this seamless integration, right? And that's all thanks to OIC. It's the behind-the-scenes hero.
I know. It's amazing how much we rely on this technology that we don't even see or even think about most of the time.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah.
kind of wild. Now, there's one more thing that's mentioned in this document. It's a bit of a can of worms, though.
Ooh, do tell. I love a good can of worms.
Okay, so they briefly touch upon this thing called customer data management, or CDM.
CDM, that doesn't sound too scandalous.
Well, think about it. This CDM is where all the data about you as the customer is stored.
Okay.
And when you're talking subscriptions, that data, that's really valuable
Right.
and potentially very sensitive.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
We're talking about those targeted ads we see,
Yes,
knowing exactly when to offer us a discount, that kind of thing.
exactly. It's all connected. So it raises some questions about data privacy.
Yeah.
And how much information are these companies actually collecting about our subscription habits, you know?
That is a big can of worms.
Definitely something to think about.
Okay, so that was a lot to take in, but don't worry, we're just getting started. Up next, we're going to delve even deeper into the technical side of this Oracle subscription management system, so stay tuned.
Welcome back. Last time we were talking about some really foundational but kind of intricate details of this Oracle subscription system.
Yeah, who knew discounts could be so complicated? It's like a whole science.
Right. And speaking of intricate, this document goes even deeper into something they call price periodicity.
Okay, price periodicity. That sounds a little intimidating. What is that?
It's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It just means how often you're billed for your subscription.
Oh, wow.
So monthly, annually, even custom billing cycles, that's all price periodicity.
So it's about the rhythm of the billing, not just the price itself.
Exactly. An Oracle system is flexible enough to accommodate all sorts of different billing frequencies.
Yeah, which makes sense because you've got
It's gotta be.
different subscriptions need different billing cycles.
Of course, yeah. You're not going to bill someone for a software subscription the same way you would a gym membership.
Right, totally different rhythms, but the system can handle it.
Exactly. They've even built in the ability to create custom billing cycles for those really unique situations.
Okay, I'm guessing custom billing cycles, that's probably more for specialized services, not so much your typical consumer stuff.
Probably. Yeah, but it's there if you need it.
It's there, that's good. Flexibility is good.
Exactly. And it just goes to show how much thought Oracle has put into anticipating all the different ways businesses might want to use subscriptions.
Okay, so whether you're like a huge software company or a small niche service, Oracle's got you covered when it comes to billing.
They want to make sure you get paid.
That's important.
Right, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point, yeah. What else is there?
So another piece of this puzzle is how Oracle handles something called charges within a subscription.
Okay, because ultimately it all comes down to the charges, what you're actually paying for.
Right, the bottom line.
Yeah.
And Oracle breaks down charges into three main buckets: one-time, recurring, and usage.
Okay, so one time like a setup fee or something.
It just
Recurring would be your monthly, just normal monthly bill.
Yep.
And then usage would be if you go over on something.
Precisely. Like if you go over your data limit on your phone plan.
Okay, got it.
And their system is designed to like mix and match these different charge types however you need
Oh, interesting.
to really capture all those real-world variations in how companies do subscriptions these days.
So you could have a subscription with a one-time setup fee and then a recurring monthly fee, but then also have usage charges on top of that.
Absolutely, it's all possible.
Okay, but this is where my eyes start to glaze over a little.
Yeah.
Because what about all the math? Like, how do these charges actually get calculated? That seems really complicated.
Well, that's where their pricing engine comes in.
The pricing engine.
Yeah, it sounds very official, but basically it's designed to handle all those calculations, from simple per-unit pricing to those more complex tiered models.
Okay, tiered pricing. Remind me how that works again.
So imagine like a cloud storage service.
Okay.
You pay a certain price per gigabyte of data, right? But the price per gigabyte might go down as you store more data.
Right, right. So the more you use, the less you pay per unit.
Exactly. Classic volume discount strategy.
Right, to incentivize you to use more and therefore pay them more.
Of course. And Oracle's pricing engine can handle those tiered structures, plus even more complicated scenarios like if you want to throw in loyalty discounts or limited time promotions.
Wow, so they're really giving businesses a lot of power to get like creative with their pricing.
Oh, yeah. And for you as the consumer, it means you always want to read those fine print details.
Always read the fine print, yes.
Because what looks like a simple monthly fee could actually be based on a whole bunch of calculations and conditions behind the scenes.
Right, so it's not always as straightforward as it seems.
Not at all.
Okay, so we've talked about the nitty-gritty details, but this document, it's not just about the technical stuff, is it? It also talks about some bigger picture business strategies too, right?
It does. One thing they emphasize is the importance of having a well-defined process for what they call subscription lifecycle management.
Subscription lifecycle management. Say that 5 times fast.
Right. It's a mouthful.
But what does it actually mean?
So it's about managing the entire journey of a subscriber from the moment they sign up, through their usage, all the way to renewal or cancellation.
So it's more than just making that initial sale. It's about building a relationship with the subscriber.
Exactly. And Oracle stresses the importance of having clear, defined processes for every single stage of that relationship.
Okay, so like welcoming new subscribers, making it easy to manage their accounts, handling renewals smoothly,
All of that. Because if you handle those touch points well, subscribers are more likely to stick around.
and keep paying those subscription fees.
Exactly. It can be a huge competitive advantage in the subscription world.
Makes sense. Keep them happy, keep them paying.
That's the name of the game.
Okay, so what about data? The document also talks about using data to make these subscription services better, right?
Absolutely. Oracle's all about using data analytics to understand subscriber behavior, spot trends, and then use that information to make smarter choices about things like pricing, new features, even marketing.
So instead of just guessing what subscribers want, they can actually see what features are popular, how people are using the service, what might make them stay subscribed longer.
Exactly. It's all about using data to personalize those subscriptions, make them more relevant and engaging.
Okay, so everybody wins in that scenario. The business gets more subscribers, and the subscribers get a better experience. That's smart. So what else does this Oracle guide cover? We've talked about a lot, but I feel like there's always more.
Oh, there's always more.
There's always more, yeah.
One crucial thing they emphasize is how important it is to integrate these subscription systems with all the other systems a business uses.
Right, because subscription management doesn't exist in isolation. It has to talk to things like billing systems, customer support, all of that.
Exactly. And they highlight how important it is for these systems to seamlessly talk to each other.
Seamless integration? There's that word again.
It's key. So, for example, if a subscriber updates their payment method, that information should automatically flow to the billing system without anyone having to manually re-enter it.
Oh my gosh, that is so important.
Right. The last thing you want is for information to get stuck between different systems.
Right. Oh, it's the word. It's so frustrating, whether you're the customer or the business.
For sure. So, yeah, seamless integration equals smoother operations, greater efficiency, and a better experience for everyone involved.
It's all about removing those points of friction.
Exactly. Make it as smooth as possible.
Okay, so we've talked about integration a lot, but there's this other technical detail that I wanted to touch on, and it's Oracle's emphasis on using APIs for subscription management.
APIs, yeah. Those application programming interfaces.
Yes, those And I'll be honest, I don't really understand how those work.
They can be a bit technical,
Yeah.
but basically think of APIs as messengers that allow different software systems to talk to each other.
Okay, so instead of relying on like clunky integrations,
Hmm.
businesses can use these APIs to build more customized connections between their systems.
Precisely. It gives them way more flexibility to create unique subscription offerings.
That's really interesting. So it's kind of like building with Legos.
I love that analogy.
You can create all these different custom creations using the same basic building blocks.
Exactly. And while you don't need to be a developer to understand this stuff, the key takeaway is that APIs are becoming super crucial in the world of subscriptions.
So it's good to at least be aware of how they're being used behind the scenes.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. It's a lot of info.
It is a lot of info. So before we move on to part 3, I think it'd be helpful to just take a step back and recap what we've learned so far about Oracle's approach to subscription management.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so in part 2, we really got into the weeds with Oracle's system, price periodicity, all the different charges, APIs even. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
I'm starting to realize just how much is going on behind the scenes of those subscribe buttons we click every day.
Right. It's like you see the tip of the iceberg, but underneath there's this whole complex system working.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
speaking of complex systems, I think before we wrap up, it would be good to kind of step back and just like
Summarize.
summarize, all the key takeaways about Oracle's approach to subscription management.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's clear that they're really trying to position themselves as that one-stop shop for any business
Right.
that wants to do anything with subscriptions, whether it's launching a new service, managing existing ones, growing them. They're trying to handle it all.
Yeah, and they're doing it with this really comprehensive approach. They've got the software, they've got the pricing models, the data analytics, this big emphasis on integration and automation. It's, like you said, it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's impressive. And let's not forget, they also care about data privacy and security.
Right. We talked about that whole CDM thing, customer data management.
Yeah, and that's huge, especially with all the, concerns around data privacy these days.
For sure.
So, Oracle seems to be aware of that, and they're building that into their system, which is good for businesses, good for consumers.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Everybody wins. So, key takeaway number 2, I would say, is Oracle's focus on using these APIs to really empower businesses.
Right.
To customize those subscription offerings. Like you said, it's like giving them the Lego blocks to build whatever they can imagine.
I like that analogy because it lets businesses create these unique experiences for their subscribers, and we, as consumers, we get more choices.
Exactly. More options, more flexibility. That's what it's all about. And this is just going to get more important as the whole subscription model keeps evolving.
Yeah, because it's not a one-size-fits-all world anymore.
Not at all. So whether you're a business leader or just someone who uses subscriptions every day, like most of us.
Yeah, which is probably everyone listening.
Probably. Understanding this stuff, how it all works, is super important.
Yeah, it's like having the secret decoder ring
Ooh, I like
and
that.
understand the whole subscription economy.
Right, exactly. You can make smarter choices. You can navigate this whole world with more confidence.
Be empowered, not overwhelmed.
Exactly. Now, this Oracle document, it's been incredibly insightful. It's given us a lot to think about,
It has?
but it's really just like the tip of the iceberg, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The world of subscriptions it's huge. It's constantly changing. New technologies, new business models. It's a lot to keep track of.
It is. And you know what? It makes me wonder,
Yeah.
as we become more reliant on these subscriptions for everything,
Well-
from our software to entertainment to maybe even transportation someday,
Right.
how is this whole model going to have to adapt?
That is the question, isn't it?
That's a big one.
And I think it's one we're going to have to revisit again soon here on the Deep Dive.
Definitely.
Okay, well, that about wraps up another Deep Dive.
It's been fun.
As always, thanks for joining us on this journey into the wild world of subscription management. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.